Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Slay to Success talk show. My name is Rochelle Slay Queen Hemingway, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. I advise and I empower professionals, especially veterans, in all aspects, all right, to really step into their most authentic personal brand. And I say this because I not only have women as clients, I have men as clients. So I wanted to preface that at the beginning of the show so everyone is aware that if you have some branding that needs to be refreshed or you're just not sure what your brand is, I'm your girl. But here on the show, y'all, we here to talk about leadership, wellness, mindset, a little bit of personal branding, of course, and business acumen. And I'm on the show by myself today because our guest that we're going to have is not scheduled to next week. And so I wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to be here with you all. And so we start from the word slay. All right. This is the Slay to Success talk show. Slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, and to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym that stands for Universal Life and Leadership Philosophies that really resonate with me, and hopefully they resonate with you too. And that is stay ready to be ready, lead out loud, a sense of community, and knowing you are built to last. So as you come on in, please let me know where you're streaming in from. Put your name into the comments, if you will, what city or state that you're tuning in from, because you could be anywhere, but you decided to be with us tonight. And I know these games, okay? I know these games are playing. It is football season. Okay. But if you spend just a little bit of time with us, that would be just amazing. You just come on through and then, do what you got to do. But thank you so much for being here and tuning in tonight. Y'all, I have really been in my thoughts. And today's topic was really one of those just reflective moments that I've had over the past, I say about a week or so. I've really been thinking these different ways that I show up. Okay. And so I wanted to talk to you all about being one of a kind and what that looks like and why there may be a little bit of struggle. Because when I go out, and this is now like after I retired. So as most of you know, I retired after serving in the Air Force in 2021. I served for 30 years and I decided to launch Slay to Success. And Slay to Success has many arms. Okay. There's a lot of moving parts to it. But one of the things that I wanted to do was to reframe, reimagine what Rochelle looks like. Instead of having this title or your position, because I had all that when I was in the military. But I wanted to see what I was really made of. And what I see is that I am very different from a lot of people, which sometimes can be a little bit scary, but at the same time empowering. Because when I was in service, there were times where I was modeling other people. Like I wasn't quite sure how to show up in my leadership style. So I would, just take on personalities of people that I admire. And to the point where I lost myself on several occasions and in asking, well, who am I now? Going from one position to the next position. So I saw that there was a change, there was a shift for me about 5 to 7 years before I retired. Hey, Glenroy, you're in Vegas? Okay. That's our old stomping ground. Okay. I hope that you are safe and you are well. But thank you for tuning in, Glenroy. You are such a faithful follower. I absolutely love you for that. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. Okay. So, I really saw there was a shift for me when I took on the word slay. And when I started to share that with people, I had all these people staring at me like, what are you talking about? Because it wasn't the traditional. All right. So, again, in a conforming environment, and it doesn't even have to be in the military, it could be, any other place where they have a lot of structure. There's, a lot of rules and regulations. And, sometimes you just can't, sway here or there because you had to stay in the lines. And so many of the leaders, if you will, would come up with like the 3 C's or the 3 T's or the 3 F's, or, share their philosophies like the three whatever, because three is kind of easier for people to consume and to remember. And for me, it was this word slay, which slay is very much a slang term. It's found in the Urban Dictionary. All right. Slay, if you look in the regular dictionary, it's like, when you slay someone, you like you hear it on murder shows a lot. You see it in newspapers, news articles when somebody, unfortunately, there's a homicide. So there's, a lot of that reference. So when I shared, hey, it's from the Urban Dictionary, and I was just talking through the meaning and the vision for which I had saw my entire career up until that point to be, because little did I know that it took a lot to get to a 30-year military career. Okay. And when I went and crossed that finish line, I still didn't know the gravity of really what that meant. But all the while, I was slaying it. Okay. And I have to be fully transparent with you all. When I started to understand that I was making moves that was much different than others, that others were afraid to do because of the consequences that may occur. And I just stepped fully into it. And I said, you know what? I don't know of any other person to be right now. I mean, yeah, I did lose myself a couple of times, but towards the end, I was like, you know what? I really want to discover and realize who Rochelle is. Like, I knew I was getting ready to take the uniform on, so I was like, okay, what does that look like? Okay, so Glenroy says, being one of a kind defines you as a dynamic force that is structured but fluid enough to adapt to situations that may be somewhat outside the framework in which you are used to operating. Yes, I love that. That's exactly what it is. All right. And we are all one of a kind. We are all have our own unique characteristics, our own traits, the way that we walk, the way we talk, the way we think, the way we move. It's all different. But what we can do sometimes is we can be looking left and right and all over the place and start taking on other people's personalities and movements that are not in alignment with who we were really supposed to be. I see it all day, every day. Y'all, I'm out in these streets, okay, all the time. It's always hard when you're the first to break the mold. It is. Hey, Bethlehem, how you doing, Queen? Thank you so much for being here live with us tonight. I see you, Queen. Just keep on slaying, okay? But it is hard because, people, are so used to having the same thing. And so when somebody comes up with different way of doing things, they're like, that's wrong. Because I was getting that the last 5-7 years of my career. And to a point, I was frustrating my own self. I felt like, I was getting the Heisman. I was getting pushed back. I was getting rejected. I was getting dismissed. Oh, we don't do it that way. What are you trying to do? You can't make that up. You can't do that. It was all of that talk that made me feel as if me being different was like a violation. And I just didn't know why they would spend so much energy on trying to push me back into line, if you will, And I was like, well, if we do it from a different way, we can get different results and maybe find something here as a solution to a problem we've been having for many, many years. But sometimes when you're different and you're one of a kind, if you would, people just don't like it. There's a lot of people who will tell you to sit on the sidelines and be quiet and tone it down and stop doing too much. Okay. And when in reality, you should be doing more and they should be doing more. All right. Because they see you. They don't know how to take it. Hey, Beth, you are a little late, but you are finally here, Queen. Now listen, Beth and I just saw each other earlier this week at an event. We were at an AI workshop seminar, and she showed me her phone, and she's got an alarm for this show. It goes off at 6:45. And I was like, wow. And so, sometimes we're able to make it here and sometimes we're not. But when you do, it's even more the better. I just like the love that I'm feeling. Okay. So thank you, Beth, for being here with me tonight. But, being one of a kind can be difficult. It's somewhat this journey, maybe being alone at times because people just don't get you. But over those 5 to 7 years before I retired, I really started to morph into a different mindset. And I was thinking way outside the box. I started to explore my creativity. All right. I didn't know I had a lot of creativity. I like to think about, different things, come up with different ideas, um, try it out and see if it works. So fast forward, and I launch Slay to Success, and I get out here into this world, okay, which I had no clue about because my head was down and I was focused on the mission and getting it done. So I have traveled across the DMV, all right, and when I'm out, like I'm fully expressive now in the way that I show up from head to toe. It's very clear that when I step into some spaces that I'm the oddball. I just look like I shouldn't even be there. In reality, I need to be there to show that there's a different way. All right. It doesn't have to be the cookie cutter. My path so far as being a businesswoman, entrepreneur, has been like up and down and in between. And I absolutely love it because there's not one day that's the same. So I have events that I go to, or I have clients that I'm working with, or, I'm just uh, preparing for different conferences that I'm attending. And it's just like a whole new world for me. And I know that if I can do that coming from a very conforming environment, like anybody can, it may take a little bit to really find yourself. But once you do, just understand it's one of one. You're one of one. All right. And to be able to express that in its fullest way is the most empowering thing I've ever felt. I am free. Okay. I am free of all of the roadblocks, the barriers, the bars that were set for me. And I was talking to, someone I do like, boosts, like I put up boosts and to share with the community about what I do and how I do it. And so I did that yesterday, and there was this guy, and he's an older veteran, and we were started talking, and he was like, when you're different, people just they are like arm distance. They just don't know how to take you, and I could feel that sometimes because I show up with a lot of energy, y'all. I'm ready to have conversations. I'm just ready to experience wherever I'm at. And I have done this for some years now, But there were times, all right? And even when I was growing up, I felt like I knew I was different from a lot of other people, but I just didn't know how to work through that. So hopefully, like talking about this can help us as we are moving forward, all right, in this thing that we call life. Okay. Glenn Roy said, being the service programs us to fit in instead of fit out. What? Okay, being an outlier is frowned upon in every aspect of being in the military. I was more concerned about completing my bachelor's degree instead of focusing on the CCAF. I was preparing for life, okay, after the military. Turning G wrenches on aircraft was not what I had in mind for my post military career life. You know, Glenroy, it's funny how you're sharing this because I felt as if I had to go into whatever I was doing in the military when I initially retired from the Air Force. And my background is medical. So I thought I needed to get a master's degree in health sciences because I had my associates and my bachelor's. I have a human resources degree as well. So I was like, well, the natural progression is just to get the master's in health sciences. But I had to stop and ask myself, is that really what you want to do? Do you even have the bedside manner anymore to be in the medical community? You've done that for a very long time. Why don't you do something different? And if it weren't for me asking and questioning myself, I would probably end up getting my master's degree in health sciences, but I ended up getting my master's degree in strategic leadership. And it was the best thing for me to do because I actually enjoy talking about leadership. But the one thing in leadership that I really like to talk about is image management and reputation and building influence and confidence and expanding your network and increasing your impact. Like all those different entities are like these nuances of leadership that I enjoyed the most about studying that subject. And so I just went for it. Okay. And you're right. They did teach us how to just fit in. I mean, how many times did you hear of someone getting, a 341, which for those that haven't been in the military, it's like a piece of paper that they write out, like when you get a discrepancy on either a uniform infraction or behavioral infraction or, something that is kind of like out of line, they write you up for it. Right. And it was all in the way, and I get it, okay, because the military is designed, it's a system that is designed to go to war. I mean, like, that's bottom line. So you want everybody in uniform, you want people to be, focused on the right things. And I totally understand that. But after you take the uniform off, there's a lot of people who still stay in that mindset. All right. They still want, this whole structured way of living that doesn't give them the flexibility to think differently. All right. So I just be like, there's a lot of robots walking around. There's a lot of people who are like talking the same talk. And so when I come around, I clearly see that I am different. All right. And it used to be a little bit like, maybe I shouldn't do too much. Maybe I shouldn't wear all this pink. Okay. Maybe, I shouldn't like get my hair done in this style. It's a lot going on. Okay. But then after a while, I'm like, I actually love the way that I'm showing up. And it's making me feel so much more confident about what I'm doing, what I'm saying, how I'm, going about my day. So, we are one of a kind. Hey, Chevy, happy belated birthday. Chevy's birthday was yesterday, y'all. So please give her some love. But happy 44th birthday. I know you don't mind me sharing how old we are. Okay, up in here. Because you don't look a day over 40. Oh, not even a day over 30, really. So I'm so happy to see you here, Queen, on the show. But yeah, like being one of a kind. Now I have some notes down here so that way I can just stay on topic, because you know how it gets. I could just go rambling here, there, and everywhere. But I really wanted to make sure that we're not trying to be a carbon copy of somebody else. Okay. Now, Slay to Success, there's not a lot of people who have businesses that are named, with Slay. There are a few, okay, that I have came across, but there's not a lot of people who have taken on this word like I have. Like I am deep into it, and I knew that there was only going to be an audience that was going to get it. All right, this is not for everybody. If you are tuning in, you are part of Slay Nation. Okay, Slay Nation this is a whole new way of life. Like we don't think about, you know, uh, fitting in with everybody else. We don't. Okay, we are somewhat of the rebels, the disruptors, the change makers, the trailblazers, the people who have created a path for themselves. Don't know necessarily where we're going. We going somewhere. All right. And we're doing it with class, with grace, with style, with ease and finesse. All right. We don't have any desperate energy. All right. We don't carry on in conversations that are low vibrational. You know what I mean? Like we have energized conversations with people, and people want to have conversations with us because they see the magnetic pull. Okay. They can feel the presence when we walk into the room. All right. But here are some common traps, if you will, that come up because they've came up for me, and I know that they may have came up for you, but this is to encourage you, to inspire you, to get you just keep on moving forward, even in the midst of things looking crazy, because things could look really crazy when you're showing up in your own unique way. All right. All right. So we start to compare. All right. We start comparing to everybody else. Like, for example, okay, me and my husband, we go to a lot of events together, like for date nights, and I absolutely love it, right? Because I can get dressed up and, and he's like, I'm the eye candy. So let's just go on out here, right? So, maybe a few weeks ago, we went to the Air Force Ball, and the Air Force Ball was at Annapolis, a hotel called Westin Hotel. And I selected a dress specifically for this event. Like when I saw the dress, I was like, yup, that's my dress. Don't you know, it was in my size. I didn't have to get it tailored. I didn't have to get it hemmed. And so when I wore that, at first I was thinking in my head, oh my goodness, what are the other women in there? They're going to be wearing, the traditional. And it's always like, I don't know what's going on in there. It's just something, there's something that happens. All right. When people go to these events. And for me, I'm like, okay, like let me show up in here in my brand. Okay. Because I'm stay on brand. Okay. That's what I do. And so I walk in there and I could see eyes on me. I could feel them. All right. I could have easily shrunk myself and just hid or sat down at the table the whole night. But you know how the Slay Queen is, okay? Slay Queen is like the music starts coming on and people are getting up and out of their seats. I'm up out of my seats and I'm dancing the whole night long. All right. And I realized that if I was hiding, I would not be able to give permission to somebody who wanted to hide too. All right. And that's what happens sometimes. People just say, you know what? It's not for me. I really want to enjoy myself, but I just don't know how to. And I was just like, come on now. All right. So we got to get out of that mindset. Okay. Glenroy has another comment for us. Autonomy is uncomfortable for us when we leave service. When we dive into with reckless abandon, reckless, the positive impact that we have on our personal ventures and others is unsurpassed. The sooner we get comfortable with then having intellectual rights and creative autonomy over yourself and the things you do, the better. Like, listen, I cannot tell you how much I have enjoyed my journey. I get to fully embrace all of me and exploring. I'm ever evolving as we do, right? And I'm finding things that I like and I don't like, but having the intellectual rights, like that phrase, those two words in itself is everything. Okay, because mindset matters. I don't care what anyone say. It matters when it comes to really figuring out where you want to do, where you want to go, and so forth. And I have the luxury of doing things my way, and it's different. All right. It's not like what anyone else is doing that I talk to. Now, there may be people out there doing it, but I tell you, I get on these platforms and I get excited. I get like energized and rejuvenated. Other people, they get drained. Right. The way that I run, people through a program, is things that I created for myself. And if you're interested, I've got a masterclass. You see that QR scan code right there in the corner of your screen. That is for the Bold Influence Masterclass that I'm putting on tomorrow night. And you don't want to miss that because you think I'm on fire right now. Wait until you get into the masterclass, okay? Where you really going to feel, hey, I'm going to start running in a brick wall right now and get after what I really want to get after. Having meaning and purpose to this life that we only get to live one time. So I'm just not going to wait, and I'm not waiting. Yeah, and Dominic, he does a really great job. He be making dates, like, so was it Friday? He had off of work. He made reservations at one of the local restaurants. He is so good about that. And all I got to do is get dressed. He just tells me what time and where we're going. And I just get dressed and I'm there. Like, and that is the beauty, okay, of knowing yourself and knowing, hey, he knows me. He knows what I like. All right. So all of us are different in our way, but we are our own masterpiece. Okay. We are our own masterpiece. We get to paint the picture of what this life is supposed to look like, especially if you have the autonomy. I love that word too, because that is that, no strings attached. Nobody's looking over your shoulder. Nobody's like, making sure that you're doing XYZ. Okay, listen. So we got, on the Facebook side, y'all are over there. Kat, I see you. Lindsay, Tina 2.0. Great evening, Slay Queen. She says, how you doing? Oh my goodness. I got to pull my phone over here so I can, Facebook doesn't allow me to be great. And so look, I see y'all. She says, yes, it does. I'm streaming from North Kakalaki and she loves it. So thank you so much for being here with us tonight, Queen, because I'm just talking about being different. And okay, you know that we're different. But sometimes it could be hard to show up different because we get side-eyed. Okay. We get eyes rolled up in the back of the head. We get like, well, who does she think or who does he think they are? I went to a big event, and in fact, it was the Congressional Black Caucus, and y'all, I'm out there just wearing all the flowers because I don't have anything to prove. Like, I'm not trying to get a job. I wasn't trying to get a position. I'm just me. And I was like, take it or leave it. All right. Well, all this pink. And I just walked into it. And, I saw people looking, but I didn't really particularly care. But I know exactly what I do now, not only in my professional life, but also in my personal life. and what is the impact that I am trying to create or creating as I continue to move in this world now. The other trap that we get is we are looking for permission. We're always looking for permission. We're looking for somebody or somebodies to say, yes, it's okay for you to be different and go right ahead and just do it. I'm like, I don't think that. Like, my belief is when you know that you want to do things differently, you should just go ahead and just do that. It's probably the natural thing for you, and it's not different for you. It may look like different for everybody else, but we are waiting for somebody to approve our purpose. And we already know. That's a sad thing. We already know what we want. We already know. But we're just waiting for somebody to say, oh, yeah, that's what you do. That's it. That's it. But deep down inside in our gut, we are feeling it. So we got to take advantage of that. And being different is a competitive advantage. All right. That means that anything that you touch, anything that you think of, anything that you create is you, okay, putting in the effort to make that thing happen. And it's going to look different. It should look different from everybody else. Okay. So the last is, sometimes we wait until everything looks nice and pretty, and it's got lipstick, and it's got all the pretty things attached to it. We got the buttons and bows, we tie it up, we wait for the right moment, and we get out there and we just like, okay, it's not our turn yet, we gonna wait 2 more weeks. Oh wait, no, something gonna come up, we got an event or something, or a family gets together. Oh, I'm going to wait after that. And then before you know it, you are not doing anything. Okay. And I say, just go out there and don't think you have to have it all together. All right. So people really connect with authenticity. They really do. Okay. They just got to connect to you because you are really talking the way that you should, that you have been created to do, designed to do. So, okay, so Tina says it can be, but God gives us the strength to push past all the obstacles. Yes, He does. That part, I forget which part, but whatever part I said, Tina, I am walking in a different way, but it's not like different to me, but it may be different for other people because when I was in the military, I was walking a certain way. But now that I am out of that, I almost forget sometimes. And it's kind of like, okay, like I almost forget that I wasn't in the military sometimes. It's part of my story, but sometimes I forget. Like I get so far removed from him. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, but I just trying to figure out like what's best for me now, right? Okay, and so Glenroy says, walk in your autonomy, be your brand. You don't need permission to manifest the dreams that you have. Embrace Coach Prime saying with regard to those looking, lurking, and whispering. Don't allow my confidence to offend your insecurities. Where is my clapper right here? Okay. Do not allow my confidence to offend your insecurities. And it's sad, but it's true. That's the way this world is operating. All right. Because people can easily behind the screen. All right. And when they get in person, literally there have been times where I didn't know who I was talking to, and they said, oh, we're connected either on Facebook or LinkedIn. And so I go back and I check whichever profile that we're connected on. I'm like, oh my goodness, why in person do they look this way and then online they look a different way? All right. And I always attribute it to confidence. You don't have the confidence to be the brand, like you said, be your brand. All right. And staying on brand and whatever that looks like, but refine the brand. All right. The brand doesn't have to look like it's like on a discount rack. Okay. Like I have seen some brands and I'm like, woo. Okay. There's some things that need to happen, right? But as you are looking to improve your overall, and when I talk about brand, I'm talking about a holistic approach. I'm talking about the way you're showing up from a visual standpoint, your behaviors, your body language, your gesturing, your communication skills, either nonverbals, verbals, writing, speaking, to your online presence. And I shared this again with someone else. I'm like, you know what companies are doing, or partners, or anyone that's looking to do business or to do any sort of venture with you, you know what they're going to do first? They're going to Google you. Okay. They will Google you. Whatever you got going on these pages. All right. Because they free. Whatever you got going on is the sum of your brand. Okay. It's the sum of your brand. And if it's not what you want it to be, there are ways that you can change it so that it is most favorable for you. But I would suggest that you need to start with you. Okay. Because branding and people talking about marketing and logos and websites and all this stuff, that's not what I'm talking about. All right. I'm talking about you. How do you make somebody feel? How do they feel after talking to you? Do they remember you? Are you unforgettable? Or are you just like everybody else? Okay. And I suggest if you're in this world of which I'm in, which is Slay Nation, every one of us is different in our own way. And we're trying to get after the same goal, which is to create impact and influence in this world. All right. Leaving a legacy. That's what we doing in here. Okay. So Tina says being different and the people giving you a side eye. Yeah. I mean, that's going to happen. And when it does, I don't want you to shrink or go down into a rabbit hole and ask yourself, I don't know why I showed up like I did. Even though I really, really love the way that, I'm showing up, and I love my energy and I love my vibe and everything else that comes with that. I don't want you to ever sit in your thoughts and think, well, I just need to go home and, change and stuff like that. Listen, I wore this. I have a dress on. It's a pink and yellow dress to AJ's basketball game today with my pink purse. Okay. And most of the times what's happening in the basketball games is leggings, sweats, t-shirts, sweatshirt. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's not what I'm trying to get after, but that's not how I roll. Okay. And I had to come to terms. I don't wear that. That's just not me. It ain't nothing about me being snooty or uppity or anything like that. It's just not my vibe. Okay. Now, other people can pull off sweats and t-shirts and leggings in a certain way, but I can't. I feel like my most power, presence is when I dress fully and ready. Like I love dressing to, going somewhere. I'm out. Okay. I'm out. This is my representation of me and I care. That's just what I'm saying. Okay. And yes, if you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you play, present good. When you play, present good. Doors open for you to get paid good. When you get paid good, you live good. When you live good, you can bless good. And you have the ability to impact a broader range of people. This is it. This is it right here. All right. It all matters. You know how many conversations I have on a regular basis just for me showing up and saying, okay, I care. Let me put a little bit of makeup. I'm not saying, I'm not talking about beating our faces, y'all. Okay. I'm just putting on a little makeup. I got my nails done because that's just the way I roll. All right. I make sure that I iron the clothes that I put on if they're wrinkled. All right. If I need to get anything tailored and altered, I have my own girl. She specializes in that. She knows my measurements and everything. All right. This is no surprise because I want to make sure that I am presenting well. And you so right. All right. You get paid good. And who doesn't want to get paid good? Especially if you're an independent consultant like myself, where I don't work for a company. Okay. I don't work for nobody else's business. I work for me. And so I have to be able to showcase that based on how I'm looking. This is how I'm going to treat you. This is how I'm going to interact with you. I come with utmost professionalism because that's just the way I roll. All right. But I have been able to expand my business and meet so many new people because I just say, I'm just going to take the time to make sure that I've got everything put together. But at the same time, I also on brand, and my brand is pink. You will see me wearing pink all day, every day. People notice me from the back. I didn't at the event. The one of the ladies that knows me, she says I did not even have to look up. Okay, she was looking down, trying to get her booth together and stuff. She said, I didn't even have to look up. I heard your voice and I saw pink. I was like, okay, Queen, you know, then that's the way you want it, right? For every single time that you're out and about. Because when people recognize you, that's brand recognition. All right. This is like companies when you see like Pepsi Cola, all right. When I see Pepsi Cola, it already has me thinking like military because it's military colors, like blue, red, and white. Okay. So, there's a certain feeling that you have. And I love Pepsi. I don't know about y'all, but that's my if I'm gonna drink any kind of soda, which I don't drink on a regular, I will drink the Pepsi and over the Coke. And it's got to be Diet Pepsi because that's just the way I am. Anyway, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Look the way you want the brand to present. Always have that 30-second speech on the top of your tongue. Yes, don't wait, okay, to get everything together because you be gonna wait until the cows come home. And I know I like at any point, okay, that you go into a certain event or you're into a meeting or to a place where you're interfacing, even when you're on Zoom calls, y'all, which that's a whole nother thing to talk about these Zoom calls. I almost want to just have a whole discussion on Zoom call etiquette. All right. We're at the point now where we can start to improve how we showing up on Zoom calls. I'll leave it at that. Okay. But we need to stay ready so we don't get ready. So we don't have to get ready. All right. And I believe that because, I've seen people who go into a network event, they'll say, oh, I forgot, my business cards or, I don't know what to say. And when it goes around and introducing, like they go around the room, all of a sudden they're leaving and they're like, I gotta go to the bathroom. You gotta go to the bathroom. Okay. All right. And they missing out. That could have been an opportunity that they could have secured just by you could just have something on your phone if you want to exchange information. Just saying. All right. Beth says she steams all her clothes, even her t-shirts. Okay. It just speaks differently. It just speaks differently. All right. When you don't have a bunch of wrinkles in your clothes, I'm just saying, all right, it means that you took the time. And sometimes that's a lost art. I know people who don't even know how to use an iron. Just saying. Okay, so anyway, so again, I'm gonna look at these notes. All right, this is not about being perfect. People connect with authenticity. People make mistakes. They may not get all the words right. You can hear like sometimes saying the uhs and the ums and so forth and so on. Guess what? That's how people talk. And the more authentic that you are, the more that you gain the trust and the connections with other people, because then you're relatable. All right. And I'm just telling you, I'm not trying to work with a robot. All right. With somebody who is just walking through the motions. All right. I know we got AI coming out and all this other stuff. We already got it here and da 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 da. But when people having like service based businesses like the one that I have, they want to interact with a human being. And human beings have feelings, they have emotions, they have life, they have struggles, they have, a lot of different moving parts to their life. And they want to hear about that. They don't want to hear about all the glory, okay? Because, yeah, we do have glory, but there are some hard days, and everybody's got hard days. So sharing that, to inspire others. All right. So think about like the leaders or the creators or the change makers that you really admire. Like, how do they show up? All right. And really, they become influential, if you will, by being one of a kind. They remember them even years later. So think about how you can stay top of mind. And so living boldly or leading boldly, like is something that I attest to every day. I'm like this bold influencer that I come to the DMV. I don't know anybody. I don't know what's going on out here. And now I get, called out my name. They may not say Rochelle, but they were saying Slay. And I'm like turning my head like, oh, hey, but understanding that you can create positive impact for the world, the community for which you are living in. All right. And if you want to do it, you have to understand this stepping into this one of a kind power requires clarity. Okay. You got to be crystal clear and stop second guessing, and let's start moving with confidence. Then we have to have a connection to the right people, to the right opportunities and the partnerships, right? That allow us to be able to create the movement. Because SLAYin is a movement. It's a business, but it is a movement as well. All right. And you have to be able to contribute. So when you're one of a kind, you start to really contribute. You start to really make a lasting impact, whether that's in your family, in your career, in your business, in your community. And so the outcome of you being unique, you being you, is really about standing out. Okay. That's how you standing out. LinkedIn and Dot Card app are great tools to have at networking events. If your brand is marketed LinkedIn or other social media, the Dot Card and app can provide instant access to your brand and insight about your brand, as well as contact information. Leave people with a sense that do I need you in some capacity? Yeah. And I always know that I like to keep things curious. All right. So if you keep things like, curious a cat kind of thing, like, tell me more. When I say, yeah, I'm the CEO and founder of Slay to Success, they're like, what exactly is that? So I share a little bit more, and then they're like, well, what else is that? Like, yeah, because they will then remember that they ask you all these questions. All right. So there are different techniques that we can use to make sure that we are standing out. So, my call to you for all those that are listening in or come back is, asking yourself, am I hiding? Okay. And from what and why? All right. Everyone that's listening in is an influencer in some capacity. All right. Now, you can have influencers who are doing mediocre, like, straight laced, kind of middle of the road, or you can be a bold, in your face, influential, positive persons that people will look up to and they want to know more about what you do and how you can support them. And that is why I am putting on this masterclass. Okay. This masterclass is from so many people asking me, how in the world did you go from a military environment where you've done that for a very long time into doing what you do now and being successful? And I have said, because I converted my influence that I had from the somewhat positional authority when I was in uniform, to having more of a impactful, uh, interconnected, a more personal influence. And it is by far one of the things that I have mastered. And I can see every day how I'm getting connected to so many great people, some powerful people who have like done amazing things in this world. And I want to be one of the numbers, if you will, in my own right. I ain't trying to be like them. All right. But I see how they are taking care of the people that they've been assigned to. They are using their personal power, all right, to really help and guide and advise people in a certain way, using the wisdom and the expertise and the experiences and packaging that all up to make it for the greater good. That's what I'm talking about in here. Okay. So I know that some of you have already signed up, okay, for the Bold Influence, Stand Out, Lead, and Thrive in Today's World Masterclass that I'm having tomorrow night. If you have not, and you know of someone who needs to be in the masterclass and get, straight from the horse's mouth, if you will, on some techniques that you can use and start immediately today, so that way you can attract the right opportunities, maybe even win that one client, even grow your business in such a way. Or if you're a community leader, being able to share what you do and how you do it in a meaningful way to connect heart to heart with someone. And if you are going to a leadership role and it's a new role and you just want to like reset, you're like, what I was doing before, that wasn't really working. I need something new. Well, this is new and out of the box. This is nothing like you've ever seen it before. Okay. And I got Jebba. Jebba's watching. Hey, Queen, how you doing? I got Kim. Kim said, keep them interested. Yes, Queen. That's what we're doing. We keep these folks interested. We don't give them the whole thing. Okay. We don't give them the whole thing. Because if we do, then they'll be like, is that it? Like, no. I was like, I always hold on the military stuff. I always hold. Okay, y'all. I hold until they ask me, like, what you been doing for all these years, right? Like before you started business, what were you doing? Then I'll share. But most of the times people don't ask me that. All right. I just say, hey, you can look me up. Here's my information. And then they be like, oh, okay. Now we see there's some things going on here. Okay. So just remember, you are one of a kind. Stop acting like somebody else. Stop looking for permission. Stop comparing yourself to what somebody else is doing, how they're looking, how they're talking, how they walking, any of that stuff. Okay. We are focusing on ourselves. We're using the tools that we have been given. Okay. God has given us these talents and these skills that only we can do, and we do it very well. That is what's going to be our competitive advantage, especially if you are looking to be successful in one of those areas that I talked about, which is either your business or in your career or in community advocacy. Okay. So I invite you to be with us tomorrow night. The QR scan code is in the screen. You just take your little camera, okay, and you hold it there. The link will be there. You just register. And guess what? It's FREE. Okay. It's FREE. So I'm going to need you to get in while you can. Because this train is moving, okay? It's going to be moving, and I won't want you to miss out on anything that we are going to be sharing in this masterclass. And there's going to be some powerful people in this masterclass. They've already signed up. They said that we're going to be there. All right. You said the ellipse is paramount. Okay. The ellipse is paramount. Yes. Okay, y'all. So I just want to thank everybody who was here live. We had Glenroy, Bethlehem, y'all on the LinkedIn and the YouTube side. Then on Facebook, we have Kat, hey Kat, Lindsay, Tina 2.0, and Jeba and Kim. So thank y'all for being here live with me tonight. Let me look on this calendar, y'all. You know, everything's still paper for me when it comes to who's going to be on the show. Oh, so next week we'll have a really great guest, y'all. And I'm looking forward to her being here. So that will be on October 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be coming back on Tuesday on the Rise and Slay morning show. And I might give you a little bit about, what we talked about in the masterclass, just give you some FOMO, if you will. But I will be back on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I am just talking all about personal branding. Okay. Once again, just giving you some insights and awareness and just bringing a little bit of cheer into your world. All right. So light and love to all of you. I want you to keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. Thank you all for being here with me tonight and joining me. Hopefully you'll see me tomorrow night at the masterclass. If not, I'll see you on Tuesday, and then I'll see you on next Sunday as well. So I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Have a good week, y'all.